Olá, nós estamos aqui com os 3 docentes da Hellinger Schule, Thomas Wittig, Renato Bertatti e Gerhard Walper, que vão fazer parte de um curso que vai mostrar a aplicação da ciência Hellinger para o mundo das corporações. Renato, conta pra gente um pouquinho como que vai ser essa estrutura desse curso e como que ele vai funcionar para o público.
Então, nesses seminários, nós vamos lançar um olhar de como podemos ampliar a nossa visão dentro das empresas, do empresário, do profissional. E nós, dentro dessa formação, não é uma formação, é uma experiência onde todos poderão incorporar essa visão e levar isso para a sua vida profissional, para a sua empresa e vivenciar isso através de vivências profundas e trabalhos práticos, e terão também todos os conceitos que envolvem a ciência Hellinger dentro desse contexto.
E, Renato, qual que é a sua experiência, o seu background nessa lida com empresários e grandes corporações?
Então, na verdade, eu sou médico, né? Trabalho com pessoas o tempo todo, e como trabalho da constelação, muitos empresários que eram meus clientes começaram a me pedir a aplicação das constelações dentro das organizações. E foi assim que eu comecei, mesmo sendo médico, como eu trabalho com as constelações, eu iniciei esse trabalho há 15 anos e nunca mais parei de desenvolver esse trabalho dentro das empresas e dentro das organizações. Então, por que isso é possível? Isso é possível porque o olhar sistêmico ele se aplica a todo e qualquer tipo de sistema, não está voltado apenas para a família, para as terapias ou para as relações. Ele pode ser utilizado em todo e qualquer tipo de sistema e não importa o tamanho do sistema. Portanto, uma empresa, ela é uma organização, ou uma organização, eles são sistemas, e todo sistema está sob a ação dessas forças, dessas leis que atuam dentro desse campo.
Uhum. E as empresas também adoecem?
Sim, não só as empresas adoecem, como os seus funcionários adoecem, como o dono pode adoecer. Todas essas conexões entre as relações que as pessoas têm com as suas famílias, elas tendem a se repetir ou se manifestar dentro de uma organização. E da mesma forma como as pessoas individualmente adoecem, uma empresa também adoece. E muitas vezes a constelação ela é um instrumento fantástico para nos trazer à luz o que tem por trás dessas doenças. Não só das pessoas dentro da empresa, mas também por que a empresa está adoecendo.
Uhum. Muito grata. Thomas, what can we expect an entrepreneur? How can he use the Hellinger science into the corporations?
Okay. So the seminar actually focuses on, first of all, making the first step. That is becoming aware and knowledgeable about the family constellation, about the orders in organizations, but also in families. And then the focus is on application. So we are leading the course in a way that everybody can make a personal experience, but also apply what he or she has learned in the daily context.
And so this person that be part of this course, we cannot expect that it's going to make family constellations.
Well, this is not a training in family constellation. This is a special seminar where the participants make an in-depth experience. And that is important for the application. So, of course, people will encounter different topics from family issues, from couple relationships, also in the context of an organization or of a family business, for example. Mm-hmm. Yeah? But the focus is really on a practical application to make good use in everyday life situations.
Good. And is there any difference from a person that is employee or employer or maybe work in the public organization? Is there any difference in this course?
Well, the topics, of course, touch different areas. Mm-hmm. But as always, in a course like this, we find people from different backgrounds and different job roles in the organization. So, for example, we find individual contributors as much as leaders, for example, who want to better understand their organization and their role and their place in the organization. And also there's a mix in industries. So participants come from very different backgrounds. So this could be anything from the public sector, enterprise, high tech, and even hospitals, for example. Also a hospital is an organization.
So and public organizations also?
Absolutely. And that is also a very important topic. And from my experience, I can tell that similar situations come up in public and private businesses, but always the public sector has a little bit of specialty in it. So we will work on that and also see what the applications are in the public sector when people are embedded in a larger system of an organization or of a whole nation.
Good. And what is your background in this area?
Okay, so my personal background, I started in a different area, in life science, as we would call it today. And then I worked, meanwhile, for about 28 years in the high-tech industry. And approximately in the year 2000, 2001, I had my first contact with family constellation. And I immediately felt that this is a very powerful method that helps me and also helps others in the organization.
Good. Thank you very much. And please, Gerhard, what can you tell us about relations in the companies? How can we use all these insights that Bert Hellinger had into this context?
Well, first of all, Bert Hellinger had many insights about what makes our work successful. What makes us successful if we are an employee or if we are leading a company, a CEO, or one in the management. And he did for many years constellations with owners and leaders of companies, with managers, and also with consultants of companies, like what you did in your work. So he had a lot of insights, and they are about from a field where the common consultants of companies does not touch, from hidden dynamics in companies, in relations, in a team, for example. And there we can do with the constellation, we can bring to light these hidden dynamics.
Okay, and what's your background in this area?
I'm coming from the social field as a social worker, and I trained also adults. And then 30 years ago, I heard from the family constellation work of Bert Hellinger and met him later and started to do this work and was impressed how much the constellations can help in companies, in organizations. For example, I worked in organizations that care for children who are given away in the social field, which had a lot of problems and conflicts with their employees on the different levels of the organization. And they, like you said before, they need to have an experience to be aware what is happening here. What is hidden in these conflicts? Where do they have the origin? Sometimes it's the history of a company or an organization. That there's something happened, an accident, and the company looks to those who were injured or killed in that accident. It is like in a shock, like a trauma in a company. Sometimes it's the personal dynamics between two managers in the company, which has to be solved, and the whole company is suffering.
Yeah. And what is the influence of the peace that we have inside our homes, our families, in the company?
On one point, the family companies are, at least in Germany, I think in many countries, the most successful companies, the family business. But we see then often from the family and from certain destinies in families and dynamics in families, they influence the whole family business. So like the family brings what is unsolved in the family brings it into the company. For example, when a couple is leading a company, they bring their couples conflict sometimes into the company. And the women are in solidarity with the wife, and the men in the company with the man. And so there is then a struggle on all the levels in the company between men and women. And then we would do a constellation about that with the couple, first of all. So when they are better in their relationship, this conflict maybe can disappear in the company.
So this influence is much bigger than we suspect.
It is big, really big. And I'm happy to work with different colleagues together with their different background, because everybody can put some piece of it from his background to make this really a rich experience for everybody.
Good. Thank you very much. Bom, então todos estão convidados para participarem deste curso especial com 6 módulos, um primeiro introdutório. Ele acontece em São Paulo de março a novembro de 2019. Você é bem-vindo. Até lá.